Okay, there's nobody else in this room.
There is
we
nobody
set this up
else here.
ourselves.
Exactly.
We're the cameramen.
Yep.
We're Cultivision.
my name isn't Cultivision, but it is.
Anyway, what is your name?
Shit. It's a crazy first question. My name isn't J Mac. I'm from Virginia, but I stay out in LA at the moment.
Word. Good to be with you today, J Mac.
It's nice to be with you too.
I'm so excited for the release of this upcoming album. It's why we're here. It's what we're here to talk about. For context, I first came across J Mac. When did I first discover J Mac? I'm trying to think back.
Damn.
Do you remember when we first met?
I honestly don't know. I feel like it was just like some like submitting music via like TikTok or like TikTok comments.
Yeah, one day you just kind of appeared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of tend to do that.
Yeah, no. And then I remember we had you on our lineup for the Chelsea Music Hall show.
Yep.
Last, July, August?
Yeah, that was dope with like Overcast and Marco.
Yeah, that was a very legendary lineup. And so it's been cool to be able to watch your music evolve, see you work with different people, and just see more and more people get put onto your music over time. How do you feel like things have grown for you in the last year or two?
It's been crazy. I feel like it's mainly been a product of relationships. I've met so many great people that have eventually become close collaborators or people that I've worked with, on a more intimate basis over the past year. And that was kind of like the emphasis that me and the homie John Waymeyer had put on things like a year and a half ago, was to just try and make more music and then make more relationships via music.
What approach do you take to networking and making connections with people? Because sometimes I feel like networking is a really surface level thing, and it can feel like people are just trying to become your friend to get some kind of transactional thing going. But how do you go about making connections the right way? You
said it perfectly. I hate that term, networking. I feel like there's a lot of people who kind of view relationships as exactly that, transactional relationship. And I honestly think the thing that people don't talk about enough is the people who are very well aware of that. They know enough to understand that networking is kind of looked down upon. So they kind of come at it as oh, well, let me just be surface level nice to this person, or send a, hey, how are you doing text every once in a while, even if we haven't spoken that deeply. And then it's kind of expected that since they did things the right way one or two times, that you're supposed to then owe them something.
Yeah.
So I think that going about it, relationship wise, it was really just the people who were willing to reach out and consistently reach out and expect nothing of it, or show love and not expect that same love to always be shown in return, because people are busy. Mm-hmm. And, those were the people who eventually, through consistency, I just started to speak to more and more. And they stuck around. So,
yeah. Who have been some of the key players along the way recently?
I would say mainly the team so far, in terms of people helping with the music, is mainly just producers. I'll be the first person to always testify that producers drive 99% of the music shit, especially with what I do, because a lot of my ideas are jumbled ideas just stuck in my head, and a lot of times the producers are the ones to get those out. Mm-hmm. So right now it would be my homie Gutty. John Waymeyer is my executive producer. He mixes and masters everything that I do, whether it's features or songs of mine. And then Limo is somebody who does a lot of the sample chop and soul based stuff. And then the homie Wolf Morpheus is another person who does a lot of the lo-fi and 404 type stuff.
Yeah, Wolf Morpheus is very fire. Don't you name drop him on this album too?
Oh yeah, for sure, because he produced Transport. I think it's the fifth song. Yeah. Yeah, he's somebody who I'd cherish our relationship, because it was just an Instagram DM, and most of the time I like to open Instagram DMs, I'll listen to what is sent, but sometimes it's difficult to respond, and he's someone much like my homie Gutty. I'm just blessed that I did take the chance to respond, because through that came a lot of personal conversations, reaching out over FaceTime, talking more intimately before we ever made a song. And then I think Transport's the second thing that we ever made together, and it ended up being on the project.
That's beautiful. Y'all met through just he sent you a song or something and was check me out.
He reached out through Instagram and was yo, I think I'll have some beats for you, let me send you some, and just emailed a pack, and then didn't say anything back. And then I saw the message, and eventually got back to him and we were like, yo, like, let's just hop on the phone and chop it up. Because I'm big on phone calls. I can't stand texting.
Yeah, I don't like texting either.
Yeah, it's just a much more personal way to get things across. And you also like get to see someone face to face. You kind of get the vibe of what's good with them.
Yeah. That's beautiful. We love seeing stuff come together over Instagram DMs. Do you have a lot of other like young producers and artists reaching out to send you stuff to collab with?
Yeah, for sure. And I always try and take the time to listen, but it's like I work too much, have a day job, and then also just have to continue to try and grow as a person. So sometimes getting to the DMs and stuff is difficult. So that's why I always tell people to hit up Gutty, and then he usually filters it through for me.
Yeah, that's why we got a team to help us deal with that, so you can focus on what you need to do.
Exactly.
And what you've really been focusing on has been putting this album together.
Yeah.
Bookmark.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. It's definitely been a product of something that's come together over the past year or so, like just traveling to make music, leaving Virginia, and, you know, taking risks and stuff like that. So it's like a stopping point.
Yeah.
In both life and the music.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more and just dive a little deeper into like what role travel has played in this coming together. I know you moved to LA kind of recently. So what has it been like for you traveling, getting different changes of scenery? How has that contributed to the sound of this album?
Moving around in general has contributed to this in, you know, a variety of different ways. I feel like it helped me grow as a person because back when I first started making music, I couldn't record myself. So I would drive like 2.5, 3 hours to meet somebody who I would be able to record with. And I just wasn't growing as an artist because I didn't know much about my own vocals. I didn't know how to record myself. But the basis of me making music has always been travel because it made me feel like I was doing something even on days when nothing would be going on. Mm-hmm. 2 people heard the song. It's like traveling to make music made me feel like something was going on.
Yeah.
So this time around, it just happened to be leaving Virginia. I spent a lot of time in New York and also just moving out to LA to finish the project. I feel like it influenced the sound because it influenced my mental state more than anything.
Mm-hmm. How did it influence your mental state?
I would say just going through like the ups and downs because like moving and being out on my own and kind of trying to grow through being uncomfortable, you know, it forced me to be uncomfortable and it also just took me to different places mentally, both like highs and lows.
Yeah.
You know.
Moving across the country is a crazy fucking journey.
Yeah.
So doing that and finishing an album at the same time, like you're definitely going through it in a multitude of ways.
Yeah, especially because you're trying to have the music be like a self-expression of like what you're going through, but like moving across the country, that changes day to day so often. So I feel like that's why there's so many like beat switches and like subtle changes and pockets on this is because throughout each song, like it's rare in my day to day that I'm feeling the same way. So I feel like the music should be a reflection of that.
Yeah. Something that really stood out to me about this project is it's pretty short, but so much is expressed in it in only 6 songs through like all of the beat switches, all of the different sounds that come through in just one song. Is that like, tell me just more about, how you worked with your producers to kind of engineer that like versatility and like the constant changing happening throughout the songs.
Yeah, like I said, the producers are the ones that really help to piece a lot of this stuff together. So they basically were the ones that kind of pushed me to have a large session where we all got together out in LA and really allowed me to take a step back and like help them to be able to finish up these beats that had just kind of been sitting around because a lot of these songs have been done for like a year and a half. So this session that we had out in LA was really just to like hone in a lot of the things that they had been sitting on. Like, man, I've been hearing those drums for like a year. I really wanted to change those. Or I felt like this song could have an outro, and like we all kind of sat together and chopped it up and allowed me to get out of my head, you know, because demoitis is real, and sitting with the song for like a year and a half definitely makes you think that it should be a certain way. So a lot of these songs came together because the producers and I all sat down and were like, okay, how can we make these songs the best that they can be, rather than just saying, okay, let's finish these songs, meaning like just put a mix master on them and then they're good to go. Like we really sat for and I'd say like a week, just like 12-hour long sessions each day, just like trying to finish songs.
Holy shit. That is a long time.
Yeah.
But I bet that's cool though, because you can like really get in the zone and like really flush some ideas out. Because I feel like if you're having like shorter sessions, like maybe like 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, like you can get shit accomplished. But when you have 12 hours to sit in a room and like really perfect an idea, that's when you make some shit like this.
Yeah, and it's also just trying to be more vulnerable, you know, because with recording, I feel like I'm somebody that will record something and think in my head, like once other people in the room are nodding their head, okay, cool, like this is the best version of that. And then I'll get comfortable in my own mind. So it was definitely the producers and everybody involved with this project who gave me the confidence to sit on those things that I might have thought could have been better and really make those a reality. So if it meant sitting and recording just one hook, you know, 3 or 4 times to get it to sound right, or one hook for like 3 or 4 hours, it'd be something that we just did to make it sound good.
Yeah. So. No, there were lots of like very beautiful, vulnerable moments throughout this album. And I think it's really beautiful that you've been able to get to a place where you can express that side of yourself and like eventually put it out to the world soon. Who are some of the people around you throughout the process of making the album that have helped you feel comfortable with really being vulnerable and expressing your true self?
First and foremost would probably be Tommy Richmond, mainly because he's the one that, you know, taught me that like this shit really doesn't have like an expiration date. Like there's still so much more work to do and so much further to go. Yeah. So every time you work with Tommy, you just kind of see and you feel and receive that energy, and that's kind of what, you know, Numbers and Shit is about. You know, just the first track, feeling like we've achieved, you know, like these little numbers and shit, like, but there's always more to do. And you can't just be complacent.
Yeah. Should we listen to Numbers and Shit?
Yeah, I'd be down.
Let's listen to it.
So I've come so far, I know, but we got so much work to do. Oh my God. 1, 2, 3, I really ain't shit. Been stuck in a crib too high. 4, 5, 6, these niggas ain't shit. Tryna 10, 1, 6, my vibe. 1, 2, 3, I really ain't shit. Been stuck in a crib too high. 4, 5, 6, these niggas ain't shit. Tryna 10, 1, 6, my vibe.
So that was the first track, Numbers and Shit.
Yep.
With Tommy Richmond.
Yeah.
You were saying that song came out of like a very legendary session.
Yeah, so it's funny because the version of that song that Tommy got to record on was completely different than like what it ended up being. But it all came out of a session where Gutty and John Waymeyer met for the first time. You know, and we recorded like 8 or 9 songs that day, and they'll end up being, you know, released throughout the next year or so. But this was one of those tracks, and we knew from the moment that we recorded it that we wanted to get Tommy on it.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. He like blends perfectly onto that song. Y'all are like the dream collaborators. Every time y'all drop a song together, it's perfect.
Yeah, I feel like that just comes out of the fact that Tommy and I are like for real. Like if I could stress it enough to anybody, like really friends. At some points to like the detriment of the music and like stuff that we have going on. Like we'll sit and watch an entire UFC card in a random Buffalo Wild Wings for like 8 hours before we'll sit in the studio for 8 hours together, just because that's where we're most like we just hang out and enjoy the things we enjoy together, because that's initially how we met, was, you know, through the UFC and mixed martial arts and being fans of that. So like we're real live friends, so whenever we make music together, it usually comes like from that perspective.
Yeah, but I think that's special because then you guys are also like outside living life together, so it gives you so much more to talk about in your music, instead of if you're just linking up to like make music, you're actually like besties hanging out and having fun.
Yeah, and it's been real fun to just kind of go on the journey, you know, with Tommy. You know, he took that risk to make a move across the country a year before I did. So he was kind of one of the people, along with John, that was forcing me to, you know, get outside of myself, get outside of Virginia, and, you know, expand the horizons.
Yeah, no, and it's cool that you get to have someone from Virginia and LA with you to make you feel a little more at home.
Oh, yeah. Virginia's on the way up. Everybody's making moves separately. Together, and it's fun to just be able to do that with Tommy and kind of put on for the state.
Yeah, that's beautiful. One of the lines in the song that jumped out at me was "anxious in and out the house."
Yes, I'm a perpetually anxious person.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's talk about anxiety, because I feel like I hear you talk about that in your music a couple times. I've heard it, and so like, what's your experience with that been? Like, what's your personal journey with anxiety?
For me, it's been an up and down thing because I was like a 15, 16-year-old kid getting prescribed Xanax and, K-Pens and Prozac and shit like that just to be able to deal with it. And I didn't really know what it was. I thought it was always just this thing that kind of, made my heart race and closed my throat up and just made me unable to do certain things. Fun fact, I wasn't able to walk across the stage in my high school graduation. Like I sat backstage because I couldn't go on stage, and eventually they snuck me across stage so my family and people could see it. But anxiety's always been one of those things that kind of took me outside of myself. Like I would get so anxious that it was hard to even think as myself. I was more so just like this ball of anxiety. And it functioned in different ways, it would be, like I said, like in and still to this day, just in and outside of the house. Like I'm anxious for different reasons in public and when I'm alone. So it's kind of one of those things that feels unavoidable, like inescapable at a certain point.
Yeah, 100%. How do you feel like your relationship with anxiety has changed as you've gotten older?
That's a good question. I think that it's kind of been one of those things that I'm more so thankful for at certain moments, because I think that it's anxiety gets conflated for paranoia sometimes, and paranoia to me sometimes is just alertness. And I think that sometimes I'm anxious for the right reasons and sometimes I'm anxious for the wrong reasons, and I'd like to try and control that, or at least be aware of that and try and control it better on a daily basis. But I've tried to shift away from medicating myself from an official standpoint. Self-medication for sure, but not any of the pills or stuff like that. I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, we're smoking weed now and just relaxing. Does weed make you anxious or does it calm you down? Because weed until I turned like 21, weed always made me really anxious, and I couldn't start smoking weed until I was 21.
That's funny because I heard this one funny stand-up bit that was like, one day weed used to mean no worries until one day it meant all of the worries. And it's like for me, weed, if I stop smoking weed for a little bit, like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I go back to it, I'll notice myself getting like that increased levels of anxiety. But for the most part, weed definitely helps me come back to a ground level, whether I'm anxious or like depressed. Like it brings me back to that medium where I feel like I could operate as a person.
Yeah, I feel. Do we want to listen to track 2?
Yeah, let's get it.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Bitch won't probably gon' pay top dollar. Talk my shit, I still won't color. I'm a dog ass nigga, it's no shot color on me. Yes, on me. I'ma get mine, but the bank ain't free. Walk around town, gas tank on E. Walk around town, gas stank on me. Ayy, if you gon' slide, don't go out the way. If you gon' slide, don't go out the way. If you gon' slide, don't go out the way.
That was the second track.
Yep.
Who produced that one?
That's just Gutty. Let me motion to off camera. Gutty, that's just you, right? Yeah.
Word to Gutty.
Yeah. Yeah, I was about to say we need an air horn. We need an air horn for this interview.
We do.
But yeah, Out the Way is a special track to me just because it's one of the ones where I felt like I definitely got outside of myself to describe myself, if that makes sense. I think I say on it like I'm deep in my Duffy. That's not how I talk. Just because it's not necessarily a song that I make, on the regular.
What headspace were you in when you were making that song?
I was just in the type of headspace where I was kind of down on myself. Like I talk about it like I'm a dog ass nigga. Like I definitely feel like that at certain points. And the whole song in and of itself is kind of like speaking to past and future relationships and just being like, if you're gonna slide, like just come my way. Like it's probably not worth it, because not only am I out the way, but like I'm probably not worth it as a person, because that's oftentimes how I feel.
Yeah, you were saying like it's a jam but it's sad.
Yeah, it's meant to be that way. Some of my favorite songs growing up were that. Like I remember having people tell me like, yo, if you heard this song like Throwaway by Future, it's a jam. And I'm like, this is one of the most heart-wrenching songs I've ever heard in my life. What are y'all talking about? But that's the music that inspires me, the stuff where you could kind of get your personal shit off, but people can still find a way to vibe to it. Yeah.
How do you feel after recording a song like that where you're getting in your like very like sad, vulnerable bag? Like what does it feel coming off of making a song like that?
It's cathartic. I tell this to a lot of people, but once I make a song, I like run it back repeatedly because I want to make sure that that's like the truest form of self-expression that I've found. But once it's out, like, I rarely listen to it. Like, I never go back and just like listen to stuff off Spotify or stuff that's come out. Because once it's out there, it's for everybody else. It's not really for me. I kind of got those feelings off my back.
Yeah. Who do you think is gonna like? What kind of person do you think is gonna have this be their favorite song on the album?
Hopefully the people that are trying to just grow as people, because it's kind of just like a form of self-understanding, in the sense of realizing that, like, you're out the way for a reason, and you're trying to work on yourself as a person. So you're just kind of saying, like, hey, I'm putting a pause on all this. Like, I'm out the way. Don't bother me. I need to work on some shit.
Yeah, I got you. Do we want to get into the third one?
Keeping my distance, trying to make money off top. Photoshop hot, niggas get cropped out the pictures. Stop doing Zans and it don't make a difference. Stop doing Zans and it don't make a difference. Stop doing Zans and it don't make a difference. Stop doing Zans and it don't make a yeah, probably never met a nigga like me. Treat the beat like Tarantino fight scene. Probably fighting demons in my sleep. Treat the beat like white boy starting fight club. Oversight is way too hard to see. Pills and hard and scarred up on my teeth. Still could pull your daughter if I peep. Money probably fucked up my relations. Money probably fucking with the music. Relationships done fucked up on my sleeve. Way too hard to fake, it's hard to keep. Fuck if she a freak, if she a dub. Way too anxious when I'm in the club. Still mistake narcotics for the funds. Fuck a couple hundred if it's drugs. Probably cap a zipper for a feature. Probably hit your before a placement. Probably hit your bitch before a repost. Nigga, where you living, where you... Yeah.
You broke as hell out here in California, just smoking the days away. Get back inside and work. Do you hear this instrumental? You chose it. Rap, nigga.
Trying to find somebody who can handle me with care. I've been unaware, unavailable. And it mess with my cerebral. What you see in other people, what I thought you saw in me. This love a picture painted easel. Desert eagle to my temple. Make a hobby out of overkill. Throw a little shoulder in the throttle. How the motor feel? Hardly over heels. I'm over this. I'm over smoking dope. I really can't keep substituting meals for all the substances and thrills. I can't pretend that public spaces are a place. I'm trying to chill. I'm hardly famous, but adjacent to the lane I'm trying to fill. I put strain on these relationships.
That was the third track, Leak, which just recently dropped. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What's the response been like so far?
It's been crazy. I really don't know how to describe it, just from the support, from yourself and from people like Cam Sullivan and others. It's been crazy to just see people reach out and genuinely enjoy a track. I think there's something to be said for like that gap when you're trying to put out music correctly, where you feel like you have music out that you're like, yeah, like I like that for that time period, but it's not necessarily representative of all that I've been on or like who I am as a person now. So putting this out, I just feel like we're getting closer to where I'm at, as a person, my headspace, and just the quality of music that I've been trying to release.
Yeah, no, this is like this song is like of the highest quality. And I feel like I really, really enjoy this song because the first and the second half are both sides of you that I love that are different. And so like having them on one track together is really nice. Like that first half of like kind of more like upbeat, you're grooving, you have like your really solid flow. And then we get into that. Who produced the second beat?
The homie Limo. He is insanely talented. If anybody ever gets the opportunity, he needs to start doing beat breakdowns just so that people can see, how he chops samples and how he thinks about music and the ways in which it can be constructed, because I feel like he has a very unique take on that.
Yeah, that beat is magnificent, and I just love the way you're able to like emote through your voice. Like just the way you can convey emotion, especially over a beat like that, is so beautiful. And yeah, especially like the end when you're saying trying to find somebody that can handle me with care. Like I really felt that, and I think that was one of my favorite moments on this project. Can you give us a little insight behind like that line specifically?
Yeah, I feel like that line really encapsulates just, kind of, I feel like it's like the shitty nature behind that song or behind the song itself, just because the first half is me essentially just admitting like I was on Xans, now I'm off of them, and it really doesn't make a difference. Like I'm still this same person kind of making these same mistakes. And then the second half is kind of this acknowledgement, like this kind of self-pity party of like, why aren't all these people around? Where are all these relationships that I had? And just kind of asking that question of like trying to find somebody who could handle me with care. And it feels shitty because it's like I've damaged all these relationships, and now I'm here at the end of this track just kind of asking, like, I'm just trying to find somebody who can handle me with care. And it's like, well, you kind of pushed all those people away. So it really is cathartic in that sense, and it is like a self-reflection of like those two sides of things, kind of like half dismissal and half apology to, you know, the situations that I've created for myself over the past year and a half.
Yeah. Did it feel good to see this track come together? Like, what do you feel when you listen back to it now?
When I listen back to it now, I less so think about the content of the song and more so about how it came together, because I feel like it is the perfect encapsulation of like what we really went through to make this project shake.
Yeah.
You know, because the first half was recorded in New York during the sessions with Gutty and John where they had first met and we were kind of all together for the first time. But the second half was recorded during these sessions that I like to refer to as like the demo a day sessions, because it was just me in Virginia, you know, day drinking, recording songs in the back of my 2003 Toyota 4Runner with the windows down, just kind of being real vulnerable in front of my neighbors, getting real sad. And the second half of the song was originally called A Demo a Day Keeps the Demons Away. So the song, when I look back on it now and seeing both halves together, Gutty's idea. He's not gonna tell nobody that it was his idea, but it was his idea.
Shout out Gutty.
To put the songs together. Once I see them there, it's just mind blowing, because I look back on it and I'm like, wow, we really went through shit to make this song together, because we recorded the first part in New York. The second part was me alone feeling stagnant in Virginia, and then it all came together and we put the songs together and finished it out in LA.
Yeah.
So it really is a tale of two halves. You know, it's a song of two halves.
It is. And I feel like that backstory of the song is reflected in the sound. Like that first half kind of sounds like you're in a studio with like the more bouncy energy. Like we've seen the video for it too, or I've seen it, where like you've got like John with you and you've got everyone in the studio kind of like contributing to this more upbeat energy. And then the second half definitely sounds like sitting alone having a pity party in your car.
Yeah, and it's like it's one of those things that now, like looking back on it, I feel like this might be the first song that I go back and I like listen to, because it really does bring me some sort of personal solace to hear. I feel like it's growth. Others might not feel like it's growth, but I feel like it is, just from a musical perspective, but also from a personal perspective.
Yeah.
Because I think that's ultimately what I'm trying to achieve. It's just that perfect level of vulnerability through the music.
Yeah.
And this is a step in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, no, you really did it with this one. You really shitted. You went absolutely insane on this song.
I really appreciate it. And it means I need to do a better job of just receiving and genuinely internalizing stuff like that, because I feel like a lot of the reasons why you get these types of emotions in like these songs is because I have a hard time, you know, accepting a lot of the positivity that comes from the music itself.
Yeah, that's a journey. You know, you get there over time. It's different for everyone. But let's go to the next song.
Yeah.
If I had the strength, I move these issues I can't walk around. I can't talk about, I won't talk about. I'ma walk around it, I'ma walk around. I'ma walk around it, I'ma walk around. If I had the strength, I move these issues I can't walk around. I can't talk about, I won't talk about. I'ma walk around it, I'ma walk around. I'ma walk around it, I'ma walk around.
Walk Around, the song pulled out of the depths of hell by John Waymeyer.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
So, John Waymeyer is him.
He is him.
Not only is he him, but he is not them.
He's not them. Him, Duncan. Himmy Turner.
Exactly.
He is really the one and only.
It's insane. So Walk Around was initially a song that, again, came out of these demo a day sessions where I was just day drinking. And it should be said that I had all of the knowledge I have of recording myself comes from like watching John do what he does and him like imparting knowledge upon me. So recording the song in and of itself was me just trying to poorly emulate what John does when he mixes and finishes a lot of my vocals. So the initial song I was really proud of because it was one of the first songs that I had ever recorded for myself, but I also listened to it for like a year and a half, and got severe demoitis before we had even sent it to Kwame for the feature. So I was really committed to it sounding a specific way. So when we got together to finish the track, it really was a lot of work to try and get the hook that we re-recorded, because we couldn't just use my terrible SM57 vocals from my car recordings. Trying to get the hook to sound the way that it does, it was like a month-long process of just redoing stuff, like letting stuff sit for a week, coming back, like, let's re-record this. Hey, what if we tried this? Move this here, shift this main out right and bring the right into the middle. Like little stuff like that eventually got it to sound like how it did in my mind. John is probably the only person that can get things to sound like they do in my head, which is why we work together as frequently as we do.
Yeah, no, it's really cool how John is able to like reach into your brain and like bring it into the real world.
Oh yeah,
he's like transmitting.
John has a task that nobody should ask for, to reach into my head and pull ideas out. He's definitely doing the Lord's work, if you will. Just in my mind at least, he's helping me out a ton.
Well, he's doing a damn good job.
I know, right? And this song is so important to me, mainly just because I think it's a testament to the relationships that have been formed, because and I'll look into the camera to say this, if anybody is like, you got to be into making the music for the right reason, and the right reason in my mind is for the relationships, you feel me, just to be able to meet the people that you can meet via the music, you know, like this song and having Kwame on it, like we had just met via the internet and I was just a fan of his, and now, you know, a year later we're on a track together, but it's a lot more like we're real live friends. We hang out, like him and Zay all caps are like the first two real friends that I had when I got out to LA. So making music for the right reasons, and just there's so many like beautiful people, so many people who are worth having relationships out here, and that's why I love this song so much. It's just because I really value having Kwame as a friend. So just to have something out together means a lot.
Yeah, I'm really excited for y'all to have this song out together. I am such a big fan of Kwame as well. Like, I love his voice. I just love the way he raps. Like, I can see him rapping. Like, when I'm listening to it, I can see his face and I can like see what it looks like. Just the passion that he has when he really goes in. It's just beautiful. Like, I love Kwame so much. And you were telling me about how the production around Kwame's verse was like kind of more custom tailored to fit his verse, or just like tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, so when we initially had this song, it was over the initial beat that you hear that I'm rapping over, that the hook is over. But when we went to finish the song, we just kind of thought that with Kwame's verse, it might be better to like just rework the beat entirely and make it something different, because Kwame in and of himself brings out a lot from everybody that he works with. So we were just really trying to make sure that the production throughout the song met his energy that he came on for the second half of the beat. And that's again like why the song sounds the way it does, is because Kwame came with a specific type of energy. So everybody, again, this track was produced solely by Lima, but then we had the team come in, John specifically come in and rework the beat, rework the sound of everything.
Yeah, and I think it's cool because again, it goes to contribute to the extreme versatility of this project and how every song really feels like 2 or 3 songs. Like, you know, you get the whole variety of sounds throughout, and so I think Kwame's voice and the production around it, just like chef's kiss, amazing fit.
Oh yeah, I love it to death. It just means that, like I said, it means the world to me, because like it really was like me, Tommy, Kwame, Zay were like the first people just as a group out in LA. So Tommy and Kwame on the project are the only 2 features that I could have, you know.
Oh yeah, it's the perfect fit. I feel like it's a family affair.
It really is.
Yeah, and it makes me so happy just to know like this project was made by such a close-knit group of people, and so seeing you all come together to create this sound, it's like the Avengers were assembled.
Oh yeah, and it hopefully we'll get a lot more of that here soon.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go on to the next song.
Mama need everything, labels want everything, women want wedding ring. I've been here working, I will pop anything to feel like I deserve this. We would drop everything to make each other's world spin. Yeah, narcissist for hire. I would drop everything to make the bridges brighter when they burn. Tighter on my terms, liar on the 15th, I'm a fighter on the 1st. I just want everything, I can't do everything, you won't do anything.
That was Transport. First of all, who produced on this one?
This is the homie Wolf Morpheus.
Okay.
Yeah, like we talked about a little bit before this. Wolf and my Wolf relationship with Wolf is just, it means a lot. Because again, it's like two similar people who wouldn't have crossed paths, just kind of crossing paths for the music shit. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of similar themes of just like relationships kind of making this stuff come about.
Yeah. Word to Wolf Morpheus. Incredible producer.
Incredible human being. Getting a lot of stuff done down there in Atlanta, hosting events, DJing, making music, dropping beat tapes. He does it all.
Incredible. And I really want to go into the lyrics on this track because I feel like the beat just really does pull you into what you're saying. I feel like there's very much a focus on the lyrics for this one. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, this is definitely a lyrically dense song. I feel like it's me just with my wordy ass trying to get some feelings off. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this song really is about, good and bad motion. I feel like it's called Transport because I was definitely doing a lot of, transporting of myself, my feelings, the things that I had going on to different places just to make the music stuff. So I was carrying a lot of baggage, carrying a lot of things with me to these different places, and it helped make the music, but it also, kind of helped shape the circumstances that I was in those individual moments.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really just a lot of me dealing kind of with the things that come with this stuff and like the feeling of like, damn, like I'm really doing this so I could help provide and give back to the people who poured into me, like my mom and my brother and my family. But also I'm doing this and trying to deal with relationships that, I would rather see bridges burn between and places that I might not want to go back to. So it really is just a song about the good and bad types of emotion.
Yeah, good and bad types of emotion. Do you feel like oh my god, my question completely left my mind. I'm loading real quick.
Buffering.
I'm buffering. We'll take it another direction. What do you feel like is the most memorable or impactful line on this song for you, if you had to choose one?
I would pop anything to feel like I deserve this. Because again, it is about good and bad motion. So it's like I would pop any type of pill that would make me understand all the good that's come with all of this. Being able to sit here and talk with you, being able to have people listen and resonate with have the music resonate with them. Having my little brother reach out and just be like, yo, this is so cool to see. Things that mean a lot to me, but also, I would pop anything to feel like I deserve the bad that comes with it, like the self-doubt and the failing of relationships that I thought I had. The feeling like I need to end relationships with people who might not feed me as a person or, really put me in the best position to continue doing this long term.
Yeah.
So really just saying I would pop anything to process all of this.
Yeah. What do you do to process all of this stuff? Like when you're trying to like not pop something to do that, like what's something you're doing in your daily life to help you process all those feelings? Because it's definitely a lot like trying to really make yourself understand that you do deserve the good things coming, like taking the compliments that are coming your way, like understanding the growth that you're seeing and why it's happening. And then also like all the terrible stuff that comes your way, like you said, the self-doubt, like the complication of relationships. What do you do in your daily life to kind of deal with all of this emotion?
I'm going to be honest, I deal with it so poorly, and I know I deal with it poorly, but I'm kind of in this weird headspace where I'm like, if I deal with it better, will I be able to make the same type of music that people are listening to? And I hear it from everybody around me, like, you could be happy and make good music, and I'm just, sometimes I really don't feel that way. And sometimes I feel like I don't process things because I'm trying to be able to pull from those same places. But you know, on the day-to-day, just so that I'm not like shutting down and not like I say, like, I probably should address a couple things when I get anxious. Like, I am the type of person that will sit and just let shit crumble because I feel like I can't stop it from doing as such. So on my day-to-day, I just try to have a routine and find things that can take my mind off of what seems like the world burning.
It really does feel like the world burning a lot of the time. So like, you're completely correct in that, because I also be having those days where I'm like, the entire world is crumbling, the world is burning, and I'm not going to do shit about it.
And I feel like
I'm just gonna crumble.
I feel like I'm just here like real into my silly little tunes, and that's just kind of
your silly little tunes, your silly little raps.
Exactly. It's like my little poetry is kind of what I'm involved in at the moment, while like buildings burn and people are struggling. And I feel like it's one of those things that a lot of it is just coping. Like, I feel like I'm hardly hardly thriving. I feel like I'm just surviving. Most days. I
feel like it's so interesting to me that there is so much great music that comes out of like the deepest sadness, and there is that question of like, am I going to be able to make beautiful art if I'm like happy and I don't have all of this pain to express? But I don't know. I feel like I feel like as an artist and as someone who's creative, being in like a happier headspace just might lead to a different sounding music, but I doubt it would be like not good music.
I appreciate that. It's something I definitely feel like I need to hear, but I
feel like you definitely deserve to be happy. And I feel like sadness isn't what makes you like a great artist.
I feel like it's the ability to reflect upon sadness that helps a lot of the music. So like, with that not being there, you know, like, that's really what the project in and of itself is about, is, you know, conversations like this. Like, okay, like, this is the bookmark, this is where we're at. Like, can I continue to make music if I don't feel the way I did for the past however many years? Can I continue to deliver the same type of stuff if I'm growing as a person, if I'm not that person? You know, so, you know, stuff like this is really what the project is about, is just kind of the self-reflection, like taking a look back is like the break in the reading. It's a lot to fucking like think about and contemplate on. It's definitely a mind fuck. You're doing some like mental Olympics on that shit. Oh, I'm 3-time gold medalist in the mental Olympics. You can see me in the high jump, where I jump to conclusions. You could see me in the pole vault, where I stick a pole in subject matters that should probably be revisited. Nice. Mental Olympics. Coming summer 2024. Summer 2024. All right, let's go to the next track.
Tap that one more time. Deviated septum, the breath control was a lesson. Never played the field, thought the X and O's was impressive. Perfection probably left him, he couldn't perform on stage. Look like an example of why the planning go pay. These niggas paying for pay. Probably stay in the house and manage a couple strays. The internet way too loud, my interests don't intersect with the lessons they talking about. I can't take advice from someone I can't get that high around. Yeah, some of what it was, I could live to fight another day. You ain't running fingers over scars. I could hardly see him in your face. I could hardly see him in your face. I could hardly see him in your face. You ain't running fingers over scars.
First and foremost, stop slandering those white men. They were talented. The Beatles should have their place in history. Let's stop trying to rewrite it. That's my first note. Shout out to the Beatles. But yeah, an influential Beatles song eventually inspired my comfortability with this track as a whole. What's looking off camera? What's the joint? I look at all the lonely people. Oh, yes. Ellen. Oh, 99% of that 99% of that song is just in the right ear. It's just in the right ear. So like with this track, the piano is just in the right ear. Like the strings are in the center. And at first I was like, yo, it doesn't sound right. Like we got to mix it properly. And then eventually I just stopped to think like a lot of the stuff that I listen to, like old Isley Brothers tracks or like the Beatles, like just older music in general, like those niggas did not give a single fuck. Like everything in the left, everything in the right, and it was really just to create a feeling. And it wasn't with this forethought of like, oh, is this gonna sound the best off of a phone speaker? Is this gonna sound the best in AirPods? Will this hit at a show? Like, it was really just about the music sounding good for that recording. So when we eventually just went into the process of mixing this song, we just kind of went into it with that understanding that we're trying to bring back that feeling of like older music.
What feeling specifically do you feel like that brings out in this song?
I feel like it brings about like a very live performance feel of this song. Like I feel like my favorite piece of, commentary / critique on the song was that someone told me this, if Scars feels like it should be played in a museum.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that is where if we ever do a video, me and Colin will find a solid museum that will let me get this rap shit off.
Yeah.
Yes. My name isn't Ben Stiller.
My name isn't Ben Stiller. Oh my gosh. Who is responsible for the production on this beat?
So this is Stoic Beats.
Shout out to Stoic Beats.
Incredible. And this was a beat that I had just kind of found via his YouTube. Mm-hmm. And then him being the homie that he is, he was like, yeah, just work on it. Take that beat, don't worry about it. And this song came out of it, and then we thought, why not add additional production to it? And let me put everybody on to YouTube MIDI. Is, I believe he's 18, 19 years old, but he's like just a music student. He's applying to a bunch of different schools at the moment. Best of luck to him. But he is incredible with the string arrangements. Like, he's a full-on composer. And we met him through Discord, the Johan Lennox Discord.
Right.
And eventually just kind of formed a relationship because he kept reaching out. And when we were looking to finish up the album, we were like, we need a cinematic outro. We need somebody to do strings. And we brought U2 on to do that, and he killed it.
Yeah.
The end of that song really just puts me in a place where I'm like, man, shut this off. Like, it hurts me personally every time I hear it.
Yeah. Was it hard to make this song?
Oh, it was terrible. It wasn't hard to make it, but it was terrible to like hear it and be like, what am I doing to myself and to other people?
Right.
The words don't need to be put down all the time. But yeah, this song hurts a lot, mainly just because I feel like it started off as something where I felt like I was talking, to like that nondescript woman in my life, but then it eventually ended up being something where I look back at the work as a whole, especially the hook where I'm talking about you hate running fingers over scars, but I could hardly see them in your face. And that to me more so spoke about just the lack of communication with the people that I feel like I care about in my life, and like their unwillingness to speak with me about, and my inability to kind of notice and or acknowledge some of the scars that people in my life were dealing with. So eventually it became one of those things where I like took a step back and I was like, damn, a lot of this shit is about relationships that I've had even further back, or like stuff I deal with, with my dad, and stuff I wish that we talked about, and stuff that I knew about him and how it informed how he raised me. And all those scars that as we grow older seem to become more and more visible in our faces and more meaningful to who we are as people.
Yeah, definitely. What I'm finding really interesting as we talk about this album is a lot of the sadness you discuss on the album is having to do with relationships. And at the same time, it seems like this beautiful work of art was built through beautiful relationships that you have with your team and the producers around you. So I feel like this relationships must just be really, really important to you in the way that they allow you to create such magnificent art and at the same time hurt you very deeply.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time, some might say too much and some might say too little. I feel like thinking about the relationships in my life and how they've shaped me as a person. I feel like I care about, and I'm just concerned with the people in my life greatly.
Yeah.
So I feel like the music definitely reflects that.
It definitely does. And I think this track is a perfect outro. It is very cinematic. I can totally see it being played at a museum. Like, we need someone playing this like on a grand piano type shit. Like, when I first heard it, I was picturing someone playing like a grand piano, and then you like standing there in the middle of like a museum, and then just like spotlight on you, very sad and somber, and you just like going in.
Yeah, and that's I feel like this song in and of itself is kind of like a museum piece to a lot of the emotions that I've kind of felt, because I feel like we all deal with shit. I'm just another hurt person. So this is just me kind of getting that off. And I think it's a good way to end the album, kind of an acknowledgement of like all of the things that might have led to the songs previous. I feel like that's what an outro should be.
Yeah, definitely. For the album as a whole, what do you think is the ideal setting for listening to the album?
That's a good question. Word to Danny Brown and JPEG, not around the hoes.
Not around the hoes, because they will be scared.
They will be scared. Perfect environment to listen to this in. I would honestly say, like, in those moments where you're smoking by yourself, like, I feel like it's a cool project to throw on when you're smoking with like a group of people or just around a group of people. And it functions in that manner. But I feel like this is one of those ones that you could run back when you're by yourself, just kind of smoking by yourself and taking that time to go through a range of emotions. Because I feel like just from track 1 to track 6, it's a range of emotions. It's a journey.
It is. Yeah, and it's definitely going to make you like sit and reflect on your own shit when you're listening to it. So you probably want to be in a place when you're alone and able to like really get into it.
I hope so, because mainly I hate like giving advice or like speaking to people on things, because I really feel like we're all just kind of people going through similar experiences at different points in our lives in different places. So like I said, I hate giving advice, and I really just want this to be something that people can sit with and listen to and realize like, hey, there's a nigga making music however many miles away that's still going through a lot of the same shit that you're going through and trying to process it maybe in a different way, but we're all just trying to process a lot of similar shit.
Yeah, it's like you're not only trying to put across an idea about you and who you are, but kind of having people think about themselves as well, and really opening a door for people to get really introspective as well.
Yeah, it's the whole nameless thing. My name isn't important. Who I am isn't really that important. I feel like it's the expression and the reflection on the things that I deal with that matters.
Yeah. Anything else you want people to know about this album?
Mainly that it's called Bookmark because it is that, it is a stopping point to look back on where I feel like I was for the past, I've been making music for like 6-7 years. And I feel like things have really only been quote unquote happening, like whatever motion means to whoever's listening to this. Motion has really only been happening for like a year and a half. So it's really a bookmark to stop and look back at like what all I've been through that has led to this point. Do I need to go through those sort of similar experiences to continue to, achieve whatever all this is? And then like, what is the future going to look like? Am I really prepared to continue to be comfortable with uncomfortability and grow as a person? So that's really all this is. It's just a bookmark in my life.
Yeah. How do you feel about the future right now?
I feel like I have a lot more faith in people than is generally expressed, especially on the internet nowadays. I feel like the future is going to be all right. I feel like we're all just going to keep it pushing and have to do more to stop looking to the internet for the world to be all right, and more so look to the person to the left and the right of us, because you get a lot more sense of like what the world and humanity is like when you take that lens off of things.
I couldn't agree more, because if you go on the internet, the world is always ending.
Oh yeah, it's the internet really is a cesspool, but it also has provided some of the best relationships, some of the people that I've kind of found, through that. I feel like all of the people, that I know in my daily life now have been like taking a chance on somebody who I felt like was a light in the darkness that is the internet,
Very dark and scary out there.
Yeah. Well, this has been awesome. I appreciate you taking the time to just sit down and talk about something that means, so much to me.
Of course. I'm honored. I'm just such a big fan of like you and your music, and I'm just excited for this whole moment to unfold with this project. You've made something so special. So I hope that people get a lot out of it and enjoy it. And I hope you enjoy the process of like watching people receive it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. My name isn't J-Mac. This is...
I'm Annabelle.
Annabelle.
Nice.